welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to Bhagavat Sravana. So anyone here for the very first time? Their first Bhagavat Sravana? Okay, so a couple of people. So just so you know, everyone who's a regular raise their hands. So we have this program every week from 11. We start with some bhajans, and then we'll go now to a short talk. And we have a very wonderful personality with us. I want to say a special guest, but he's definitely special, but not necessarily a guest. He's a resident, but we're very honored to have him here with us. He is in demand across the land. He travels far and wide to give katha and pravachan and talks to different people. So I'll give a little introduction, just to embarrass him completely before he takes the stage. He is a practitioner for about 20 years, and he discovered his passion for spirituality in his formative years in India while pursuing a degree in computer science engineering. So not just a pretty face, but also a large brain box. After a 2-year stint as a data mining specialist, his deepening interest in spiritual wisdom led him to fully embrace the celibate lifestyle of a student monk in 2007, and with 15 years of study under revered mentors, he delved into the ancient Indian texts like the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Upanishads. His journey brought him to the Bhakti Center in 2016, where he shares his teachings with a diverse audience, focusing on practical application of these ancient texts in daily life and experiencing a digestible glimpse of the Gita. Of course, this is an advertisement for a glimpse of the Gita. Unpacking ancient wisdom for modern minds. So we'd like to thank His Grace Gaur Sharan Prabhu for being with us today, and we look very much forward to his talk. So please, we can have very loud, everyone can chant very loudly, Haribol! Haribol! Haribol!
I'm not sure who wrote the introduction.
Was it me?
No, it's now I have to ask. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narancheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtapraye Shabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Samashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna. Welcome again. And this is Bhagavat Sravana, so we are planning to read from a chapter of the Bhagavatam, the book. How many of you already know something about the Bhagavatam? I don't want to assume and then just jump into a topic. I'm open to speaking anything that is going to be helpful. So I was thinking of speaking about one of the chapters, just go from the beginning to end. So it is called as the section where someone called as Prahlad, he's speaking to his classmates. So how many of you know about Prahlad? I have some introduction. Okay. How many of you would like to rather hear about the topic? I'm just seeing what's it. You'd like to hear more? Okay, it's also going to be a pastime from Bhagavatam, so I think that would be more suitable to the room. We will switch to that. So let me open, because I wasn't planning on that exactly. So let me just open that. Because every week it's a very, like sometimes the audience is different, so I'm just switching. So let me chant my invocation prayers, and by then I'll also be ready with this. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So let us discuss then from Canto 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is this story of Maharaj Ambarish and Durvasa. So we'll discuss from the beginning of that with the details. So before that, I just wanted to give some introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam itself. This program is called as Bhagavat Sravana, Hare Krishna. And also, thank you everyone for being here. Jambavan, Champak. Also others. So some of you might know about the book. It's already, you may not be fully introduced to the book. So that just as we're trying to explore this topic of forgiveness, that there are various perspectives that a particular topic could be explored. So essentially, Srimad Bhagavatam deals from a certain perspective. So the solutions from Srimad Bhagavatam is different from what we would usually think of, because it approaches the subject matter from a different perspective. Like if you heard the topic of forgiveness, say if I'm struggling to forgive someone who has hurt me, and if I come to you sharing my heart, that how I'm struggling because someone did something to me or life was unfair, and I'm really struggling to move past, and it's hurting me. So what would you give what kind of an advice would you give? I'm not going to say, oh, that's all okay, and then the Bhagavatam says that is what is right. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying there are multiple perspectives. So we all think in different ways. So I'm genuinely inviting your participation. So just think about, because it is very pertinent to all of us in our lives. There are so many things that we hold on to in our hearts that is actually stopping us from living and experiencing and giving to others in life. So who we are is also because of what we just have, but what we hold on to and what we are like unable to let go. That is also defining us.
I just wanted to say, if you're unable to let go or struggling with something, I would recommend seeing a therapist, especially if you had something very difficult happen to you in your life.
But if it is
And
like
it's always-
daily kind of a general interaction, if therapist seems like, okay, I have a mental illness or something like
well,
that,
you
like,
don't even have to have a mental illness. I think that everyone, to some degree, should have a therapist. I
Mhm.
think it's just, you know,
so
helping.
what
Yeah.
would your therapist say?
I mean, it's, I'm not sure what a therapist say, it's an individual. You know, I mean, you need to have spiritual life in addition
Mm-hmm.
to your, you know, regular daily activities.
Okay.
But spiritual life, it's not I think you need a therapist in addition to that, especially if you're struggling with something more profoundly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a, you know, cure-all for everything.
Mm-hmm. Any other opinions? Any other thoughts?
I can share something. I was struggling once with something, and someone told me, "Get over it." That was the advice I got. They need to see a therapist.
I think these are like getting over, just like saying someone get over it is like one kind of an extreme, and we'll see the other way is like taking everything too seriously is also another thing. Yeah, I've heard that also in life.
I've heard that holding on to anger towards another person, for example, or not forgiving, is like holding on to a coal, but like rather than actually getting the other person burned, you burn yourself.
Holding on to it.
So it's like, well, the question would be then, would you want to burn yourself, or would you want to let it go or just drop it?
Yeah, holding that hurt feeling or anger in our own heart is going to hurt us more than the other person. That's true. Do you have a poem to share, Jayanta Prabhu?
Well, it might be helpful for whatever offense you imagine that person has done to you. They ask if you've ever done that to someone else, and did you expect to do that?
Like understanding, like putting that we are not perfect, so also giving that benefit of doubt to others. Thank you. Anything else? Damodar? You don't forget?
Nobody comes to me with issues. I know the advice will be good.
Okay, you don't perceive any offense.
They gotta jump out.
I think it helps to understand what is prompting the person to commit this offense. What might be underneath? What is the origin story of that? You know, of that whatever evil they might have done. Because oftentimes behind that is just hurt or not getting love or whatever else suffering might be. Putting
oneself into on their shoes and then seeing, okay, what might have made them do that and sympathizing with them. Yes. Anything else? Yeah?
Like if you feel offended by somebody, just trying to see, like, trying to look at it, like say, is there another way I can see this? Trying to acknowledge that you feel bad, not saying, you know, trying to disown that, but saying that I feel bad, I don't like the way I'm feeling, but is there another way that I can?
Another perspective to the whole situation. Yeah. So these are really helpful and practical and things that can actually make us better the quality of your life. Because if we hold on to, or if we are too sensitive that we get hurt or we become like too touchy with everything. On the other hand, there are people who probably might say or do things that hurts us. That is also not like, okay, that does not exist. That too is there in this world, that people may knowingly or unknowingly do, say, act things that actually hurt us. And as you said, like sometimes we can give the benefit of doubt and put ourselves in their shoes and then see, okay, maybe they're going through something, so this is not very serious, I don't need to. So we can do all these processing here. So what you think is required to be able to do that level of processing?
But sometimes people play dumb and be like, oh no, like I'm going through something, I'm sorry I had to say that. Oh no, like they do that. They play like they weren't gonna be this
Mhm.
evil person. So it's good sometimes to just sting them back just a bit, just to remind them that you have fangs as well. You might not bite, but you also have fangs.
They say, right, like
Yeah,
if you
sometimes just like feel that just a
Mhm.
bit. Yeah, because it just stays like an excuse. They keep saying, "Oh no, I'm going through." Oh,
no, you have the right to protect yourself.
Yes.
Like they say, right, like if you get cheated once, shame on them. If you get cheated twice, shame on you. Like I'm not saying this is the only way to deal with, but sometimes life demands various perspectives. Yes, like you need to sometimes show the fangs may not be biting it. Okay, self-protection. But from the perspective of, say, for example, you need to stop and process. What does it take actually for us to think, okay, this person hurt me, instead of immediately taking it on as, okay, how dare this person said this, or how bad they did this to me. What it would require for you to go into a contemplative space, like, okay, maybe there was more reasons, maybe there was more perspectives, like being immediately impulsive and then getting into a place of contemplation. So what do you think that requires? Is this helpful? Is that helpful, becoming contemplative in daily life?
I was gonna say emotional maturity is required, but what's underneath emotional maturity? Maybe seeing examples of people who are very mature emotionally and have a lot of compassion and tolerance, and that increases our capacity also for emotional maturity. And to ask those questions of like why is that person doing that, or like, what can I learn from this, or how do I protect myself also so I'm not getting hurt.
Being around people or seeing some inspirational example of those who behave maturely and handle things in a matured way and also have the emotional maturity, it helps us, also inspires us to be like that. So there's nothing better than a great association. That's true also. Emotional maturity and being in connection with people who have emotional maturity. Yes, you wanted to say? I'm so sorry, but we have to move around.
I was just thinking about now this phrase I think is pretty famous now, response versus reaction. Reaction is something almost unthinking, you just do it immediately on the spur of the moment. And response, when you take up whatever has happened or whatever has been told, process it a little, and then you give the response. So this is easily said than done.
That's true.
Like it's not like I've mastered this.
The same goes to me also.
The thing is, when we listen, so I personally feel that we have to read a lot, like how to, control and then let it out, or control and not let it out, depending on the circumstance and the person and what is being said. And so I think we need to read a lot about it and listen to, such your lectures,
and practice.
as well as the interactions of the devotees after when you ask questions. Sometimes we get some really good gems, jewels from the devotees, and reply by the teacher to it. I've personally experienced it with a lot of ISKCON talks. So I think we need to expose our minds more to this idea through either reading or
Thank you. Yeah, like as one of our teachers says like regularly, a good mind is a mind in which you put good thoughts. You hear good thoughts, then the mind becomes actually a good mind. So that particular state of from response versus reaction, like not being always reactionary but always having the ability to respond, is a important ability that comes with emotional maturity, that comes with contemplation. So, and it surely improves the quality of life. And when it comes to Bhagavatam, the perspective that it takes, like yes, there is we all can actually contemplate, go from being reactionary to respond. And it is one way to do that is to actually start doing the processing of our thoughts and then processing our emotions, and that is one way. The another way that Bhagavatam says is that there are different levels of identity, right? Like one of the most primary identities is that we are the spirit soul. We are not this body or the mind. That we are spirit souls. So that is one level of identity. That is the foundational level of identity. But there is also a functional identity now, which is undeniably is there. We have this body, we have the mind, we have intelligence, we have ego. So that identity is a functional identity. So there are two approaches. One is you start working on the functional identity. You start working on the level of mind and the body and the ego and the intelligence, and you can surely make some quality difference in your life. You can work on those levels. So that's where the general motivation that you receive in this world, the general wisdom that we have, yeah, it is not good to be reactionary. We need to respond. Like with age also it changes. You find a teenager, they'll be very reactionary mostly. Even if you look at them, they would have like a few responses for the look that you're having, like, what do you think, why are you looking like that? So it's kind of an age where it's very reactionary, but with age they also realize they don't need to be so reactionary. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we also develop with age the ability to respond instead of being reactionary. That comes with age. Some wisdom comes by living in this world and the experiences and interactions we have with other people. So we can continue to work on the level of the functional identity, like the mind and the intelligence. However, Bhagavatam says it is also important to work on the level of the soul. It's not an exclusive thing. It's not that if you practice devotion, you don't need to work on your like mind or your intelligence or your self-awareness or emotional maturity. They both are not mutually exclusive. However, in this world, a lot of wisdom, the general wisdom that is available, is based on the functional identity, how to actually become emotionally matured. As an independent, we approach things in a very compartmentalized way. So this particular issue, so let me apply this technique and I'll have a certain result. Yeah, it does work. However, from the perspective of overall life, that the Bhagavatam says is, what is the purpose of life? Yes, it is good to be forgiving. It is very necessary to be actually able to forgive others and not hold on to anger. It is very important quality. It surely affects our life. But where is it connecting all these individual dots of being humble or being tolerant or being non-envious or not angry or forgiving? All these are like dots, but where are these dots connecting? Like, how are all these things serving us? So if you read from the perspective of Bhagavatam, all these dots starts to connect to that central purpose of life, which is actually that we are spirit souls and we have a connection with the Supreme Lord Krishna, and the purpose of life is to reawaken that relationship with God. And the process that we use to reawaken that relationship is bhakti. And when we take to that bhakti yoga, a devotional service, then through that process, you also gain these qualities. At the same time, you have a goal for which you are doing all these things. So they are not compartmentalized that, oh, it's a very important quality in life that I need to be forgiving. Right, and it is disconnected to everything else in life. No, it is not like that. Rather, all these qualities actually starts to fall in place towards that goal of coming closer to Krishna and to everybody else. So without that connection, then we can actually have so many workshops that how to become forgiving or how to be tolerant or how to be successful, all kinds of topic oriented seminars and talks we could hear. But if they are not connected to how we live life, and overall if it does not connect with the overall purpose of our life, then it feels like very compartmentalized. It does not satisfy the heart. And if we are not, say for example, bhakti is all about relationship with God and with other living entities. So because we want that relationship to be established and reawakened, that is why we are developing all these qualities. So why do we have to be forgiving? Because if you want a relationship with God, it doesn't come just with God, it also comes with other living entities. So, and if you are not enough forgiving, if you are carrying anger, then it disturbs us, and our heart is not in the right place. Then even if you practice some spiritual life, it does not completely nourish us. They say, right, like the heart is like the soil or the ground, and the seed that we are putting, the bhakti, is like the seed. And even if you water a lot, even if you can chant, you can go to temple, you can read a lot, but if the ground is unfertile, if the soil is unfertile, so then the seed is not going to sprout. So all the three are important. You need to have a seed. So in this world, what's happening is people are independently approaching these qualities like forgiveness, and they may try to make the heart fertile. But where is your seed? You neither have a seed nor have any watering process. So then just having a good ground is does not amount to, it just makes us feel good that I am a person who is very forgiving. However, the whole process is connected. It's just, okay, you get the ground ready, but you also need to put this on a seed. And if you put the seed and have the best ground, but if you don't continue to water, then naturally the seed dries and dies. So it's everything comes together. So the particular pastime that we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam is coming from a perspective that, yes, this world has ups and downs. It has respect and disrespect. It has honor and dishonor. All these dualities is there in this world. So Bhagavatam is coming from a perspective, as long as you are in this world, these dualities are always going to be there. So Bhagavatam is saying, rise to a place above these dualities, both in your heart and also now raise the soul to the spiritual platform while living in the world and also afterwards. So the perspective of the pastime that we are going to discuss is how to rise above. Yes, we need to understand the other person, we need to put ourselves into their shoes, we need to develop emotional maturity. These things are not exclusive to what I am saying. It's not that, okay, it's just going to happen like that, just chant Hare Krishna. Yes, everything will follow, but it does not mean we don't need to develop those good qualities on the side to support that. So the perspective that the Bhagavatam is giving is, rise above these dualities of good and bad, honor and dishonor, and respect and disrespect. And if a person does not even perceive that an offense is committed, he is like not even affected by it. On the other hand, we go around completely like what do you call, like questioning the intention of the other people. I think that person's intention is this. It could be true, it may not be true actually. However, here we see a particular personality, Ambarish Maharaj. He does not even take the offense that has happened on the from the opposite side, and actually there is something serious that happens to him, but he is in such a positive frame of mind, or a devotional frame of mind, that he does not even consider that as an offense. It's a very kind of a I won't say extreme in a good sense, like not in a bad sense, like a very high example. But the scripture is giving us that, okay, if this person could practice on that level, probably what's happening in our daily life is not a big deal. And also, and the natural question is, how did he get there? So that's what the Bhagavatam wants us to ask. Okay, how did this person get to that level where he's not even perceiving an offense, like somebody has done some bad? It doesn't mean he's letting anyone like use him like a doormat or anything like that, but just that he has such a nice heart. He doesn't think that people have anything against him. So let's get into the pastime. So I just thought this kind of a background can help us see the perspective that Bhagavatam is coming from. Anything that anyone wants to share, or yeah?
Yes, sir. It's wonderful topic. Once I heard Bhakti Samhita Maharaj spoke about the good qualities, and he said it's impossible to maintain good qualities or develop and sustain those qualities without centering oneself about the God consciousness and realization who we are in relation to God.
Okay.
So if you don't have that philosophical understanding and doing for pleasure of the Lord and your development, the relationship with the Lord, it's not possible to sustain. You might try, it might work for some time, but the push come to shove, that's all will fall apart. So unless you have that center, then it's very difficult to maintain for a long time the good
True.
quality. One might.
Yeah, makes sense perfectly, especially to sustain, because it's not that in this world people are not introspective or or not good or anything. It's just they are sometimes honestly trying. If it is not centered around the spiritual purpose, the strength that comes from someone's spiritual practice, continuously nourished by that spiritual practice, it's very difficult to sustain. The world is not an easy place either. It's naturally the gravity, they say, right? The law of gravity. It naturally pulls down. Our consciousness gets dragged down. Thank you for that. Yes. Anybody else? Okay. So this is the pastime from the Canto 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you have not heard or read the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is one good chance you could go. It's freely available online in vedabase.io. So I'm reading from the book 9. There are 12 books. So I'm reading from the 9th book, and this is chapter 4. So here is this king who is worshipping. He's very devoted. He's a committed practitioner of bhakti, and he's also a king. And he had been observing a special fasting every particular day. We call it in the tradition as Ekadashi. He has been practicing that for the whole year, and he wants to complete that yearly practice of observing that fast with a special fasting. Now, he has been fasting every fortnight, and then at the end of the year, on the holy month of Kartik, he wants to show his gratitude. He wants to show the gratitude of being able to follow that particular vow to the Supreme Lord by doing another extra special way of concluding that particular observation. So he starts to fast for 3 days. Before the Ekadashi, he fasts for 3 days, and on the next day morning, there is a particular time in which they kind of break the fast as a ritual. So he is getting ready to that, and for that he has observed the 3 days of fast, and he has invited a lot of guests, and he has made sure they are all fed nicely, respected, and he engaged in elaborate worship of the deities like how we have here. So he did all of these things, and then he was almost ready for that breaking that particular fast with the ritual. And when that right time came, he had a guest come in. So this is a very famous ascetic saint, Durvasa, that he walks into the court of Ambarish, into the palace of Ambarish, and Ambarish being the king and also like a devout practitioner, he immediately invites Durvasa also to join. Okay, this is time for me to have my food. Would you like to join me for lunch? So Durvasa says, of course, I would be happy to join you, but I just have to go and do my ritual observances before I take my food. So he says, okay, go on. And he thought it usually should not be taking a long time. So Durvasa goes to a nearby holy river called Yamuna, because they are currently in a place called as Madhuvan, part of Vraja in India. So he goes to the river Yamuna, he bathes there, and he gets into a meditation, and he loses himself in the meditation. He takes more time than that it usually should be taking. And here for the king, the time is running out. There is like a particular window within which you have to break that fast, and the window is like coming close. So he's losing time. So he's concerned. He has followed something for one whole year, and then this is the special like a fast that he wants to break. So at that time he thinks he's like kind of in a dichotomy. Here he has a guest who should be served first before he takes according to the customs. However, it is also getting delayed for his vrat. Because he has done without even taking water, so he consults his ministers, and the ministers actually guide him, saying, since you have fasted even without water for 3 days, just taking a little water, a sip of water, would be considered as breaking the fast. So he's not eating, he's just like taking a sip of water. It's not that he is having some juices or nothing. He's just having a sip of water to break the fast. And he waited for Durvasa to return from his bathing and the rituals. Durvasa returns back, and he has mystic power because he is a very great ascetic. He is also considered an expansion, an empowered an expansion of Lord Shiva. So here he comes back, and then when he enters the palace and interacts with Durvasa, he realizes through his mystic power that Ambarish had actually had some water. Basically, before even serving the guest, it is considered improper that before serving a guest you eat something when you have invited a guest to eat. So, according to that custom, Durvasa feels being a king, he should be setting exemplary example of how to receive a guest and how to practice these things. And despite being the king and having being in a position to set an example, he has broken that respect, and he has taken this water. So he becomes very angry. So he had the mystic power to be able to understand that Ambarish had drank some water. You know, how many of we have that mystic power? Like, we are happy, probably we are more peaceful in our life that we don't have that mystic power to know that what others are doing, so that at least we are peaceful. But here he had that mystic power where he could see that Ambarish has broken the fast, but he did not consider that what did he do? He just drank a little water. It's not a big deal. So when you have so much of mystic power, but Durvasa lost it little bit, because he is also coming from a perspective, I am the teacher, here is the student, and the student has committed a mistake, so I need to correct. So he is coming from that perspective also. So he jumped into that, and he took it as a big deal, and he started chastising Ambarish. What kind of a person you are? That you invite a guest, and you promise that you will, and you invite me to feed me, and then I tell you that okay, I just have to do a particular ritual, and you say no problem, I'll wait for you, and before I come you kind of break your fast, you drink water. What kind of respect is that? I know it sounds bizarre when you are living in New York City. What kind of crazy what's a big deal? Like, we have bigger problems in life. Drinking it feels totally a non-issue. Okay, somebody drank water. What's the big deal about it? Why do you have to hear or talk about it? The whole idea is a different society, and culturally the system is very different. So if you understand the cultural background of that, then the seriousness of what we are discussing would become completely relevant actually. So an equivalent of today I don't see, because we don't have that kind of etiquettes these days. Probably you're hosting a dinner, and then before everyone comes you kind of eat and be ready, and then so that so that you have the energy to interact with everyone, right? Today that wouldn't be considered bad actually. Oh, everyone is going to come, I'm going to be busy with everybody, I have to speak to people and attend to them. It's okay, I take a shower before I get ready, I eat, and I'm like kind of comfortable so that I can serve them. So it's a very different culture that we are speaking about. So here Ambarish actually, Durvasa becomes angry, and then he takes a hair from his head and throws to the ground. And what would happen if we do that?
Nothing.
Nothing. I don't have hair also to do that. So, but what happens when Durvasa does that is a demon, like a kind of a fiery personality gets created, and then he orders him, kill the king. He has committed a mistake, so kill him. And what Durvasa does not know, the backstory, the suspense is that Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, being pleased with the devotion of Ambarish, had gifted him Sudarshan Chakra. If you know what is Sudarshan Chakra, it's a weapon of Lord Krishna himself, and it is a weapon of protection. It is like a circular disc in its physical manifestation. However, it is an extremely powerful spiritual weapon for protection actually. So imagine that the Supreme Lord has actually gifted him, because he's so pleased with the devotion of Ambarish. He said, here is my Sudarshan, have it. This will be a personal security. Right? Even like, I don't know if it's in the US, is it like Z security? Is it a thing here? What do you guys call it here? in India we call it like Z plus security if you are a VIP. So you get a very special kind of a security. I don't know, the former president got shot here. What kind of security there? Yeah. Like there was an assassination attempt. But I'm saying like very important person tends to have a security who protect them. Imagine the Supreme Lord giving you his own weapon as a protection. This is going to offer. So Durvasa had no idea. And the moment actually this particular fiery person got created and he approached King Ambarish with an intent of hurting him, immediately the weapon got activated. It had a sensor. It immediately got activated and then it killed. It actually completely made the fierce personality into ashes actually. So Durvasa is like kind of shocked because the whole thing, if you understand the cultural background of it, someone who is such a strong and a powerful ascetic, their curse or a blessing does not go in vain. It has to come to fruition. And here he is such a great ascetic, and he has actually kind of made it is called as a performative utterance. Like if I say something, it may or may not happen. But even in this world, judges sometimes say and does not happen. But an ideal example within this, like nothing is so like kind of clear like these days. Like ideally speaking, a judge, if he says, okay, this person will be hanged, that is called as a performative utterance. If I go into the street and say this person will be hanged, probably I'll be hanged. Like like the judge says, oh, here this person will be hanged. It's called as performative utterance. It has authority behind it. It will get done actually. That person will be put behind the bars and the particular punishment will be meted out because that is called as a performative utterance. He has power, authority. It may not be visible, but it comes with his position. So similarly, through their spiritual power and asceticism and that mystic ability, whatever they utter comes to fruition. It is a performative utterance. So Durvasa is confused. Like I say and it does not happen, that does not happen. It has to happen. Like, and he's so confused. How did it happen like this? Like that the fierce person got completely extinguished, and then the Sudarshan Chakra, the weapon, starts pursuing Durvasa to kill him because he's the one who's sent. Like you hire a hitman and like anyone hires a hitman and commits a murder, and who gets punished? Both actually. Both, because somebody hired a hitman and it's called as it's a second degree murder. You get convicted for that. Here Sudarshan weapon is coming behind Durvasa. Okay, how dare you try to kill Ambarish? And he didn't do anything either. He didn't do anything wrong either. And for nothing you have tried to overstep your respect, and you thought you are in the right to actually correct him when he was not even wrong. So here this whole thing can think, okay, this is all about forgiveness and everything. So he goes on, this weapon chases him for a year. He goes to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Nobody affords to protect him. They say, no, it's not possible for us to protect you. And finally the weapon belongs to Lord Narayan, and so Durvasa goes to Lord Narayan and then he says, yeah, the weapon belongs to me, but I have already given it to Ambarish. If you want to actually save yourself, you have to go beg forgiveness from Ambarish. So there's no other choice. If he wants to save himself, then he comes back and then he falls at the feet of Ambarish. The first thing Ambarish, when he comes back after a year, is Ambarish has been fasting for a year with water, waiting to feed his guest. What a
After the demon
got extinguished.
The
Yes.
him even.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And
So
while he's being chased,
while
by
we
the
chased,
Sudarshan
he
Chakra.
went about his duty but drank water, just water for 1 whole year. And the moment he saw Durvasa, the first thing he asked was, please, I'm waiting to feed you, come have some food. And Durvasa is like, come on, let me have my head first, then I can have some food. Like my life is at stake. Like first feed, like you can feed me, but save me first so I can have some food. So he falls at the feet of Ambarish, and Durvasa's heart gets transformed because he feels here is a person whom I have actually attempted to kill. And imagine in this room, like for me personally, anyone just says certain things to me, I'm like holding on to it for my life. how dare that person said that to me. And like if something like this happened, it would become a TEDx talk. Okay, somebody actually like attempted to murder me, and like I got saved. It would be like I'm the life story of a person. But here Ambarish did not even realize that somebody tried to kill me. No, that is not in his mind. He's like, hey, I'm supposed to feed you, and he feels bad that because of him, he's praying to Sudarshan, please spare him. But Sudarshan has taken it upon it's like himself, that I will teach a lesson to this guy. What does he think of himself? So it's not that Ambarish is okay, the weapon will take care of now. I just don't. No, he kept praying for a year to Sudarshan, please don't hurt Durvasa. And that is why Sudarshan did not hurt Durvasa and kept following him. Just if you know the speed of Sudarshan, it's going to finish the task like this. But for a year, it just kept going behind. It was just an indication to persuade Durvasa to go to the next step. It was just like following. Every time Durvasa would look behind, it would be just enough distance. So he could never be at peace actually. He could not just think, okay, now it is gone. No, it just pursued him at that distance. It was not difficult for Sudarshan to just cut his head off. But Sudarshan did not do because Ambarish was praying there. No, don't kill him. So but Sudarshan made sure this guy will come and fall at the feet of Ambarish and then beg forgiveness. And when all of this happened, Durvasa's heart completely got transformed. What touched, you think, Durvasa's heart? What do you think touched Durvasa's heart about Ambarish? Ambarish's humility in terms of
not even saying, like not reacting, Ambarish's humility in terms of not reacting angrily or in a vengeful way, but actually receiving him with affection. So the humility and the affection combination transformed him.
Yeah, amazing. Not taking offense.
Selfless.
Being selfless. Trying to process.
Durvasa got provoked, but
Ambarish did not.
In spite of being such a great ascetic.
Yeah. Yep, thank you. Yes.
I guess since the topic of the talk is forgiveness, maybe that is what transformed his heart, forgiveness.
Oh, yeah, true. He was so forgiving. But here we are also discussing about Ambarish. As Mataji said, what to speak of forgiving, he did not even consider it as an offense. It didn't even occur to him that somebody actually tried to do something to me. He didn't even touch him. So that is when Parikshit asked, like, how did he get there? Like, how did he become so, like, above everything? Like, imagine, like, we are going through so many experiences in life and we become so affected by it. And here is a personality as bad as like someone trying to murder him, and that did not affect him actually. The rest of his life was not dictated by that particular experience in life. Whatever life threw at him, he had decided, okay, this is how my life is going to go. Whatever may be coming at me, he was fixed in his devotion to the Lord, that he was so above the dualities of honor, dishonor, respect or disrespect, or pain or pleasure. He was so above it, it didn't even affect him. He just went about his life, practicing his devotion and doing his duty as a king. So how much, like, for me personally, wow, it would be so amazing that if I can rise above that, my immediate experiences, and commit to a particular purpose in life, and go on to without any kind of distraction towards fulfilling my purpose in life, towards fulfilling my devotional duties. How amazing it would be. Life would be of a different quality. Because he was committed in his devotion, he could rise above. So Bhagavatam is teaching us, yes, we don't have control how other people would react, what other people would do, how they would receive us or how they would treat us. We don't absolutely have any control on that. But what Bhagavatam is teaching us, we do have control on our own internal atmosphere. And we can come to this level of not even perceiving an offense just by like Ambarish, Durvasa had a mystic power. As she said, he was a powerful ascetic, but he got reactionary. But here Ambarish, how did he actually not even forget about responding, not even perceiving the action? That just by practicing his committed to his devotional service to Krishna, that he rose above all of these dualities. So that opportunity is there. So when we are chanting Hare Krishna, So the opportunity for us to actually become so committed to our spiritual practice that the chanting of Hare Krishna can actually lift us above the three modes and the miseries of the material existence. That it can rise us above these immediate actions and reactions that's going on in the life. In that web we get caught and we are lost. And today's culture in general is also very reactionary. You open the social media, it's all about it's all polarized. The world is polarized in so many levels, not just political levels, and it's always our life is defined by what's the other end of the spectrum. Whoever is on the opposite side, what they do decides what we do in life. So all the news, all the politics, and all the social media is about I'm for this and they are against this, and whatever they do is my news, is my world. My reality is created by somebody else. I don't have a reality of my own. I don't have something to live for and be excited about, because that's what is my purpose in life. All my existence is based on those people who I hate, those people who I don't agree with, those people who I don't uh, work well with. They decide the agenda of my life. They are the news. They are the happening thing for me. But however, do we have a purpose to actually strive for in our life? And even if there is an immediate purpose in life on the level of personal and social, connecting it to the spiritual will give us the what do you call fulfillment, complete fulfillment. It's not that we don't need to have personal goals, or socially you don't need to have anything to contribute, or all of these other things like charity. They are never to be given up. So it keeps our heart soft actually. So there is a responsibility that we need to uh, fulfill on various levels when we live in this world. However, it does not mean it needs to be diverse from our spiritual practice. And we also need to develop this understanding and faith that a proper spiritual practice is that which actually encompasses all these things. It has the potency to make us level headed, matured, satisfied, healthy, happy individuals who's also spiritually having a spiritual consciousness. They are not different. So bhakti is like that one package which can actually make us like a complete individual. It's just that it needs to be practiced under guidance, and it needs to be practiced with care and attention. So then it surely can make us emotionally mature, physically wholesome, healthy, aware, and also devotionally advancing, spiritually very advancing. So it is possible. So, and that is what here Ambarish is representing, that being a king, he was also a great devotee, and being a king, he is always into justice, right? An authority cannot be like letting speaking philosophy and then letting some abuse happen. So when he is a king, he is not going to do that. Okay, two people come to the court of Ambarish, and the first person says, person A tried to try to murder me, and Ambarish says, no, forgive him. I don't think as a king he will do that. There'll be rules in place. Okay, if somebody actually did something like that, so then the rule of the land is going to take over and then make sure this person is not going to continue to hurt others. So as a king, he is different, but in his own personal life, he is very different. So it's not that Ambarish ran the whole country like this. Okay, everybody forgives everyone. So there is no code, there is no law, there is no punishment. Probably not. Surely not. However, it does not mean that everything is about justice. Always we have to look in our personal relationships, social relationships. We are like taking everyone to the court, like in the sense of taking everyone like, okay, constantly like kind of in that very sensitive, very fragile kind of ego. So with that, then we will not be able to forge any proper relationships in this world. I think I've been speaking too much.
So Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj, did they end up eating, and what did they eat?
Yeah. They surely ate together. Not sure what they ate. For sure, they ate more organic, non-GMO.
Thank you. Very wonderful explanation of this ancient pastime. I've heard it many times, but you've shown a very special and deep light on it. So thank you very much. I was reflecting on something important that he brought out at the end, that these principles are meant to be cultivated for one's own self and should not be used to gaslight someone or abuse someone. So in other words, if Jambavan has been abused by someone and there is a temple authority who is in a position to do something, they shouldn't say, Jambavan, you need to forgive. You need to grow up in your devotional life.
No.
Right? No, then justice must be administered. However, if someone does something to us, rather than considering it an offense, we can follow Ambarish's example, which is really, on the highest platform, and most of us are not there yet. But we can introspect and say, maybe Krishna is wanting to teach me a lesson through this incident. What is there in it that I can learn from it?
Thank you for bringing that up, Prabhu. Especially, it's not very easy to, when it is personally, when I'm affected, it's very difficult to forgive and let go. The lecture works well when I have to say others, but when I am the person who has to forgive, it becomes very hard. So the understanding of karma or any of these philosophies has different levels of application. How it applies to me personally, when I want to apply it in my life, when I'm in a position of authority, how do I apply it in others' life? When I'm a common third-person audience, when I'm looking at a situation, what is the perspective I need to take? So there are refined aspects of all these philosophies. If anybody has, yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the lovely class. I just wanted to make a point about this concept of justice and forgiveness. I've heard from other more advanced spiritual teachers on this topic a little about like let's say you're being abused, you can still forgive your abuser, but have the court system punish them, right? So there's this concept of like we forgive for ourselves, for our betterment, but we do need justice, in aspects of society. Just to clarify.
No, that's what exactly I wanted to say, but I was not sure if I want to go on because the aspect of karma, how it gets applied is very different. Like when we are on the receiving end, how do we have to, respond is very different. On a personal level, I may forgive, but I don't want that person to continue to affect others. So in that attitude, I can complain and make sure that person is stopped from further abusing others, because that is not good for that person either. So it's not good for the society, it's not good for the community, it's not good for that individual, but I don't hold hate in my heart. That is the most difficult thing. So in a talk we can only focus on one perspective, but that does not mean the other perspectives are not valid or anything. So when we apply things in life, it's always better to take personal guidance actually.
Hare Krishna. I came a bit late, about 10 minutes earlier. So I caught the end of your presentation. So you were talking about karma and how karma is, I'm using my own terms. The karma is very complex. Isn't Bhakti supposed to be beyond karma? Can you elaborate on that?
Bhakti is beyond karma, we are not. So we are not beyond it. Bhakti is beyond karma. It can lift us up, but how much we hold on to it. And when we say it is beyond karma, does not mean we won't have any reactions when we live. As great as Ambarish, that he got personal Sudarshan as his personal weapon to protect, it did not stop him from, stop Durvasa from acting in a certain way. So bhakti is surely beyond karma. We are not. When we live in this world, we will be experiencing a lot. We can rise above it to the extent we are also devotionally advanced or devotionally saturated. Does that make sense, bro?
Yes. you said something about bhakti being practiced under guidance. Could you speak about that a little bit? Like why under guidance? Like many people will say, no, you should follow your heart, do what makes sense, and I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. So could you elaborate on that, please?
I would say it's, to be short, like it's more common sense. Like there are so many drugs in the pharmacy. I can go and choose like what I like, but it does not work like that. We all have different kinds of disease, so what kind of drug would work for which problem, like that, and how much it needs to be administered. In this world, we take guidance on everything, and except for spiritual life, we would like to take guidance for everything. Like the billboards are saying what kind of brands of underwears you should use and what kind of perfumes you have to put on. What the world is telling us, and we are taking it. We are okay with that. But when it comes to spiritual life, we don't want anyone to tell anything. But it's just hypocrisy on a certain level. But it's like already time. It's good to take guidance. In the sense, in the worldly wisdom also makes it evident, makes that evident actually. We all go to school or college to learn from people who have already learned about it. So it actually quickens the growth and avoids us from committing the same mistakes that others might have committed. And also these philosophies are so intricate. So if someone hears a lecture on karma and starts applying the wrong perspective on them or on others, it's going to backfire. And they might think, oh, this philosophy is like kind of does not make sense, or it is impractical or abusive. No, it's just that refinement is required. That's why guidance is required, I think. You want? Yes, problem. Thank you, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Because Gaur Sharan Prabhu, yay! Thank you very much. Gaur Sharan Prabhu had an entire talk planned other than that. And because the devotee said we want to hear about forgiveness, of course he offered it as an opportunity. So then he changed the whole thing. So thank you very much, Gaur Sharan, for I think that indicated my heart. Just a quick announcement before the arti. Next week we're going to have a special program to honor Chakrabalala Saki. She's been running this program for many years. Her and her husband are shifting to Florida to take up some new service there. So they're letting go of this service. So we request everyone to please come next Sunday, so that you can be present to thank them and honor them as they prepare for the next chapter of their lives. So thank you very much. Thank you, Gaur Sharan Prabhu. So now we're going to have arti. Everyone can stand, and we'll move the chairs out to the back of the room. And after this, we're going to serve prasadam and feast at the back. Thank you. Hare Krishna.